Europe's extreme heat wave brings wildfires to Greece, where thousands are evacuated as high winds fan flames and temperatures soar. More than 1,000 children in Greece have been moved out of holiday camps which are being threatened by wildfires near Athens. A blistering heat wave is intensifying across much of southern Europe, with warnings that records could be broken in many places. Temperatures in Sicily and Sardinia are predicted to reach 49 degrees Celsius. Very high temperatures are also being felt elsewhere around the world. In the US, in Death Valley, already one of the hottest places on Earth, temperatures reached 53.9 degrees Celsius on Sunday. Our climate editor, Justin Rodat, reports.
Gale-force winds fanned the flames of wildfires just south of Athens today. Several seaside villages were cleared as more than 100 firefighters, supported by 11 planes, battled to contain the blaze. And more than 1,000 children were evacuated as a second wildfire threatened to engulf the holiday camp in southern Greece they were staying in. It comes as a second blistering heat wave sweeps into Europe. Temperatures in southern Spain are already pushing into the 40s, up to 10 degrees Celsius hotter than normal. It means it is almost impossible to work outside.
It's been extremely hot this year. Like, I normally get up at like 8, 9 in the morning, but I'll be getting up at like 5 just to get things done by 9 o'clock. So it's just harsh. Make you feel a bit better?
Colin Brown runs an animal sanctuary inland from Alicante. Hot animals mean more work for Colin. They need to be hosed down to keep them cool.
So you've got to sweat all over you.
And it is too hot for the tourists too, his main source of donations. So Colin has had to close the place. Meanwhile, the local river has run dry, and a terrible harvest thanks to the heat and a lack of rain means he's finding it hard to get hay for the horses. At the same time, the cash is running out. Here's why it's so hot. A high-pressure system held in place by the rapidly moving air high in the atmosphere known as the jet stream is funneling heat up from the deserts of North Africa and across southern Europe. The climate of southern Europe is changing, say local people. It's becoming more and more like North Africa. The Sahara Desert is slowly creeping into Europe, one man told me. What's changed is global warming.
Humans are 100% to blame for the global trend in high temperatures that we are seeing. So all of the observed global warming is because of our burning of fossil fuels.
We're seeing record-breaking temperatures in Asia this summer too. China provisionally recorded its highest temperature ever yesterday, 52.2 degrees Celsius in Xinjiang in the northwest, according to the UK Met Office. In the US, a heat dome over the southwest has left tens of millions of people under extreme heat warnings. Death Valley in California hit 53.9 Celsius on Sunday, not far off the all-time global temperature record of 56.7 degrees recorded in July 1913. Well, Sophie, I've come down from inland Spain down to the coast at Alicante, and I have to say there's a bit of a sea breeze here, and it is a blessed relief. But people in the holiday industry here are asking how long will tourists want to continue to come here when temperatures are just so high? And of course, climate change means southern Spain, like the rest of the world, is only going to get hotter.
Italian authorities have strengthened heat warnings at the start of a brutally hot week and on a day that's set to be one of the hottest ever recorded. It comes on the back of a string of heat records being broken across the world. Parts of southern Europe could reach close to 50 Celsius over the next few days. Italy is set to be one of the worst affected countries. From Rome, here's our Europe editor, James Mates.
There are queues all over Rome today, but not for the Colosseum or the Pantheon. The most sought-after sights by far are the water fountains. In the roasting sun, temperatures touching 39 degrees and heading higher. Parasols and fans are near essential. The occasional mist spray has been set up by the authorities to tempt people out of their air-conditioned hotel rooms. For some it has worked, many others staying indoors or gathering in the only cool spot in Rome, the Trevi Fountains. But even here, the fresh blue water is just for looking at. Police are on standby in case any attempted to jump in and cool off.
It's hot and we're from Cairns.
But even for you?
It's even hotter.
Yeah.
We meant to go to Amalfi Coast. I had to cancel it because it's quite hot out there at the moment.
That would be too hot.
Yeah, that would be too hot. Yeah, I'm going to go back tomorrow maybe to London.
I wish I could take a dip in this fountain back here.
Yeah, me too. So August will be more than this. I know because I'm Italian, so I live here and I know that this will be like this.
Terrifying.
Terrifying, yeah.
And that's the point. It isn't even the hottest part of the year. One of Italy's most senior climate scientists is watching what is happening across the continent with ever-increasing alarm.
Is it climate or is it weather?
Well, clearly it's climate. I mean, it's proven by the data. I mean, there is a correlation of an incredible increase of CO2 and incredible variation in the global temperature. The impression that we have is that the situation is even worse than we thought.
Italy is far from alone. Wildfires raging in the Canary Islands, likewise in the hills around Athens, while the Greek capital too swelters in temperatures touching 40 degrees. The long-term threat faces all of us, of course, but in the short term, the summer tourist seasons in these countries is increasingly in jeopardy. Italy's La Dolce Vita, its outdoor cafe society, is struggling in what is the second heat wave already this summer. How much longer before people decide this isn't just hot, it's too hot?
So, James, how concerned are authorities about the days ahead then?
Well, they're very worried. I mean, it's been unbearably hot today. Tomorrow, 2 or 3 degrees higher. But then going into the rest of the week in southern Italy and Sardinia and Sicily, it's staying this hot right through next weekend. Now, everybody knows how, not just the impact it has on tourism, which is easy to film, but the impact it has on the old and the sick and the vulnerable. In recent heat waves in France and in Italy, there have been tens of thousands of excess deaths recorded because of excessive heat. Hospitals are in danger of being overcrowded, even overrun here, so they're having to send doctors out to visit the elderly and the sick and to check that they are all right. All of this for a newly elected right-wing government here, which in many ways came to power on the back of voter unhappiness at the costs and the inconvenience of net zero. They are now having to recognise the fact that what we're looking at here is a new normal. They had a 2-year drought followed by torrential rain in the north. On every level, the climate here is becoming altogether more unpredictable and is costing the government a very great deal of money and a great deal of worry.
OK, James, thanks very much. Well, Becky's joined us to talk more on this, and James alluded to it there. It is likely to get hotter as the week goes on. What sort of heat are we looking at here?
Well, it's difficult to know at this stage. All I can say is we haven't yet reached the peak of the heat. The heat across southern Europe is likely to intensify over the next few days. Temperatures widely reaching above 35, up to 45 degrees for some areas, climbing above that as well. Think about how we felt last summer when we hit one day of 40.3 degrees. Overnight, there's no real relief either. Temperatures staying up well into the 20s. So really, people are not sleeping either. You just know how that feels, and we had such a brief moment of it last summer. And you can see on the European map just how widespread this heat event is. The pink and purple tones indicating to the most intense and extreme values. Over the next few days, there's perhaps a little bit of good news for Spain and Portugal as the focus of the hottest temperatures drips a little bit further eastwards there towards Italy and Greece. And it's not just Europe. Highs are also hitting 47 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. That's 5 degrees above the seasonal average. But I would rather be in Arizona than in Death Valley, California, where temperatures there are reaching an unbelievable 51 degrees. That's 11 degrees above where it should be. And the heat is on in China as well, hugely above average, 48 degrees for them. And it really is an incredibly hot picture, fairly widely. Generally speaking, there is no doubt about it. This is a very serious serious and very worrying global climate event.
OK, Becky, thanks very much for that.